The only person at this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now.
We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
All right, a lot of reaction already to Thursday night's presidential debate, and we're getting more reaction now from our panel. Here with us in studio today, we have former state party chair for the Indiana Democrats, Robin Winston, former state representative, Republican Mike Murphy, along with former Democratic state representative Terry Austin, and political science professor Martin Sweet from Purdue, who's also a veteran of the Rubio campaign. So Martin, I'll start with you. The president really seemed to struggle at times Thursday night. That's been a big headline coming out of this debate. What were your key takeaways, and where does this leave us here moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. It was really bad for the president. What I was most amazed by was it wasn't an issue of stamina, right? It was right out of the gate. It was halting. He was confused. And I was somewhat surprised that even his own supporters really came out last night and said, I think we need another way. They may need another candidate. And I think even to the point where people are openly talking about the 25th Amendment at this point, should he not be able to make it through the rest of this term.
Pretty stunning events over the last 48 hours or so. Terry, these candidates have both dealt with some sluggish polling numbers, but a poll from YouGov on Friday showed that half of Americans think that President Biden should step aside and allow Democrats to nominate someone else, while just 30% thought he should still be the nominee. What happens now?
Well, okay, so it's still, what, 6 weeks, 8 weeks until the Democrat National Convention. You know, if you saw the president after the debate at the watch party and sort of celebration.
Had a big rally Friday as well.
It was a totally different person. And, you know, he was animated, he was energetic. I think there's still a lot of time to see whether or not this continues to be sort of a performance that, you know, continues, or whether or not, I just don't see the Democrats abandoning him at this point. I really do not.
And obviously, the process for that would be very complicated, but This is the first debate we've ever seen held, a general election debate, before a convention. So that is theoretically possible at this point. Mike, what do you make of this very difficult conversation that the Democrats are having here? What do you think we'll see moving forward?
First of all, I think it was sad. It was really sad. I didn't get any joy out of watching last night at all. It was a horrible
Thursday
debate.
night. Yeah.
Thursday night, yes, I'm sorry. But I will tell you, I think that his wife has a major role to play in all this, because she is the only one that he trusts enough for her to come grab him by the hand and say, it's time, and help him walk out of political life. There's a precedent for this. It didn't go the same way, but in 1919, Woodrow Wilson suffered a major stroke, and for the next over a year, his wife essentially was the first female president. She called herself the steward of the White House, but she decided the flow of information. She made major decisions, and until Harding came in a little over a year later, she was essentially in charge. She did not pull him out of the life. She just hid him behind the curtain.
Of course, a lot of people, when you talk about precedent, talk about 1968, Lyndon Johnson. That year, the convention was in Chicago as well, the DNC. Robin, what's your response to this, your view from across the aisle? There have been those like the First Lady, other Democrats in Congress coming to the president's defense this week, saying he should still be the nominee. But just the fact that that conversation is even happening after this debate is pretty stunning.
So here's the facts. Last night, we had not last night, but after the debate, we had the largest number of grassroots donors ever to the Biden campaign. So people may have watched it, but they certainly tuned in and gave their money. The president admitted that he wasn't in his best, but if you remember, in 2012, neither was Barack Obama. This is a difference of this president versus the convicted felon.
Perhaps different shades of struggling, to the extent that they struggle.
Different than the convicted felon that he stood on the stage with during the debate, who would never acknowledge that anything is wrong with him. This president acknowledged that he could do better. He will do better as he moves forward, but I believe that you're going to see a lot more surrogates out. Because, Dan, you know, you're talking about beginning in Boston, maybe then New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, and then L.A. all in a day.
You think we'll see more of the vice president on the campaign trail? I think you'll see more of the vice president. I think you'll see more cabinet heads out.
I do believe that you're going to see the president in more one-on-one type things. More reporters are going to get opportunities to talk to him. I think you're going to see more activity like that.
And yet, a number of those people you mentioned, whether they're cabinet heads, the vice president herself, people who are also mentioned as potential candidates should President Biden decide not to go ahead with his run for office this year?
Yeah, right. Obviously, the vice president would be the normal person to sort of take over, although her numbers are pretty weak as well. Mayor Pete is the one who sort of survived out of the primary process and then took a position within the Biden administration. And then Gavin Newsom seems to be sort of one of the annoying ones. A little dark horse candidate, though, I'd also think about Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Really strong numbers really across the board.
We'll see what happens certainly from here. Let's talk about the latest here in Indiana this week. State Senator J.D. Ford announcing that he won't run for lieutenant governor after all. Terry, what did you make of his decision?
Well, I know that J.D. made some phone calls, but you know, he has an important job to do in the Indiana Senate as the, you know, he's second in command of the Democratic caucus. And you would have to basically abandon your colleagues in the Senate to pay attention to a race like this. So I think he made the right decision. He understands it was not good for the party, it was not good for the race, and why shoot yourself in the foot?
Running mates don't always matter all that much this year. They seem to. Robin, what are you expecting to see at your party's convention next month? We have the contested race for Attorney General, technically still a contested race for LG, perhaps not to the same extent, though, with J.D. Ford deciding against getting in.
Oh, I think, first off, on J.D.'s statement, acknowledged that Terry was the better qualified candidate. Because if people would actually read the job description of the lieutenant governor, a lot of it relates to rural Indiana, a lot of it relates to agriculture, and who better than the guy it's a cattle farmer. So he's got that on his side. I believe, since I'll be there, that we'll have a unified convention. You know, it's the old John F. Kennedy line, you know, never negotiate out of fear, but never fear to negotiate. So we're willing to work things out.
We'll have a couple interesting conventions coming up at the state and the national level, no doubt. Mike, you get the last word here. How, if at all, do you think any of this will impact the race for governor?
I don't think it will at all. I mean, as I've said before, Braun's going to win by 10 to 20 points, depending on how Trump does. If Trump's in prison, that may change things a little bit, but they're still going to win. And what I'm amazed at is how the liberals of the Democratic Party, and they're not all liberals, obviously, but the liberals in the Democratic Party are criticizing Gooden for voting against gay marriage and other things back at the same time that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama were against gay marriage. You can't judge somebody by today's standards for something they did 15 years ago. It's just not fair.
All right, we got to leave it there. The panel will be back with this week's winners and losers. Coming up next, a group of state lawmakers go to Washington to highlight the issue of gun violence. Stick around. We'll be right back after this.